Alrighty then, we are live. Greetings everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful Saturday. We're gonna read some more Reddit tonight. Real topics to return next week. Hopefully, we'll see. We know how these things go with me. Anyway, we're gonna pick up where we left off last time we did this. It's just Heather and I tonight. And yeah, should be pretty fun. We had a whole bunch of topics left over. Because we ran out of time. We're going to see how many of them we can get through tonight. How are you doing, Heather?
I'm doing pretty good. There's a lot to be done tonight. And at the end of this stream, I'll announce what won the poll for my October game stream that's going to start tonight. It's not going to be a big surprise. Trust me.
Very good. So make sure to send this stream around to Brony friends you have and see if you can get them in. We got to raise our viewership quite a bit here. And we are trying to, do a little bit of, we're trying to get some donations to make up for our losses from Hurricane Milton. There's a tip jar link at the description where you can, tip if you're enjoying the show well enough to do so. And we'll see what we can do for you in return, as always. And if you want to join the conversation, there's also a Discord link in there where you come in, you tell us what you want to talk about, and if we find it interesting, I'll give you permission to join the call, and we can talk about your topic for a little bit. We also got to thank the $10 and up patrons, such as Heather herself. There's also Shady, Autoknight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Rain, Billy, Alden, Kanto, Mr. Sonic, Alicia, Calbeck, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Vulpecula, Raptor's Talon, Jimmy, Yoshi, and Dark Malcontent. Check out all those links in the description. Now then, Heather, let's see where we left off. We left off here, and I need to share the screen to Discord.
I was about to say, maybe I'd like to see what you're talking about. That would be a good place to start.
Maybe. Anyway.
So, this one I'd like to hear from the chat, especially on what are the requirements to be a Brony. Brawny, please proceed.
Oh, I would say that you enjoy the show Friendship is Magic and wish to, or, maybe even My Little Pony in general. I'm open to discussion about whether or not liking the franchise of My Little Pony or just liking, Friendship is Magic specifically is a requirement there. But I would say, liking Friendship is Magic at the very least, or one of the other iterations of the show, and wanting to identify with the term as Brony, because with the I used to be friends with a gentleman, and we worked together on a lot of things back when I was in college, and he got into the show and he liked it a lot. We're talking like 2011 to 2013 kind of time frame here. And he just couldn't reconcile with a lot of the cringier or, more autistic sides of the fandom, or the sides of the fandom that were, behaving inappropriately, being, too much into porn, or, he cites one specific incident where there was a dude in his like 20s or something like that, hitting on Michelle Krieber at the first Brony convention back when she was like 13 years old. So, he liked the show and he liked the comics, but because of that, he could not reconcile with the term Brony. So he wouldn't let me call him a Brony, which is fine. That's perfectly his choice. So Heather, what do you think?
I want to get into a little bit of what they said here. Obviously, you wouldn't call a 5-year-old who likes the show a Brony. No, that's like the intended demographic. I don't want to put an age cap on it, like you have to be an adult to be a Brony, because I'm sure teens are, but I don't know if I'd call a 5-year-old child watching a show a Brony. I would say they're getting really into age of it. I'm like, there's no age range, but I think a casual child enjoyer isn't a Brony. I don't want to put too many requirements on here, because then it feels like we're gatekeeping or being too restrictive. So I would say it's being a My Little Pony enjoyer, but also interacting with the fandom in some way, because the point of the term is to signify that you are a part of a fandom. Now, you don't have to be a content creator, but perhaps just regularly ingesting fandom content, like fan fiction, videos, or just in being a part of the discourse, would make you a brony. Like sometimes I guess that's why you wouldn't feel like a brony if you weren't ingesting content more regularly about that was fandom created. But I guess that's all I would say the requirements are, is that enjoy the My Little Pony show and be a part of the fandom in whatever way you feel most comfortable.
Yep. Nathan says, "Hey, Brawny, hi, Princess."
And I guess
go ahead.
And I
Heather.
would say, along with the story of your friend, it being a choice, like you want to be a brony, like enjoy the show, interact with fandom, and want to be one. Like you don't have to be one if you don't want to.
You raise a good point about interacting with the fandom, and that's certainly something. In fact, it reminds me of a couple of outliers that I've seen in my time in the brony fandom, where I've met people mostly at conventions or meetups. Let me see. And there was one gentleman who who didn't really like the show but loved film fiction. So he was really into like Fallout Equestria, My Little Dashie, and a lot of like the creepy or grimdark side of the Friendship is Magic. Again, we're talking about like 2013 sort of time frame here. But he didn't really like the show. Should we call that a brony?
It'd be a weird semi-brony, because it's weird for me to consider someone a brony who doesn't like even particularly care for the source material. Then again, he's interacting with the fandom, ingesting the materials, and if he wanted to be considered a brony, I suppose I wouldn't deny him. I wouldn't feel very much like a brony. Like, I've enjoyed fan content for shows I haven't watched completely, like what was that one show called that I completely digested just because of a fan comic? It was a little girl who was basically Pepe Le Pewing a little ninja guy.
Oh, that was yeah, I know
what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it too, but yeah, we did watch it.
Yeah, see, I couldn't consider myself a member of that fandom, but what I do like is this one fucking comic, this very, very well-made comic on DeviantArt that somebody made to ship her and a different character. It was really good. I'm gonna see if I can find it actually, because it was a very well-made comic.
All right, and the other outlier that I remember is I met a guy who couldn't watch the show. I believe I've told the story about this guy. I was introduced to him through Cruiser, and he came to one of the Grand Brony Galas, and he liked the fandom, and he really liked the comics, but he couldn't watch the show because Pinky's voice, he had sensitive ears, and Pinky's voice hurt his ears, like physically.
Dude, I can relate to that.
Yeah. So is that a brony?
I would say yes, because he's ingesting comics. That counts as source material. I'm going to count that as the source material. So definitely a brony. He wants to be a brony. He ingests the content. He's involved with fandom. That's a brony.
Alrighty then. Rusty says, brony requirements. Y'all like the show. That's it. Congratulations.
Yeah, so you can have a looser term. I'm just saying I wouldn't feel like a brony if I wasn't, doing fandom stuff,
Do you think there's an aspect of age demographic to it, Heather?
Like I said, I definitely wouldn't consider a child, like a 5-year-old watching the show, a brony, because they can't really be involved with the fandom. I mean, I guess there are younger ones, like, there's teenagers in the fandom who can make their own Twitter accounts and look at fan content. I guess the age cap, I would say, is 13, because I don't want to consider, like, a non-teenager a brony, because I don't like the thought of them being involved in fandom. Just because I also know what a dark place fandom can be, I would just, be careful with that. A child shouldn't be like a 5-year-old shouldn't be involved in the brony fandom. Like, if their parents take them to a con, that's cool, because the parents are also like that, but I don't know. I feel like I don't want to be the judgment call on that, but I gotta say, I don't think I consider a 5-year-old a brony.
Now, in 2015 and 16, I had a 9-year-old student who called herself a brony. and she was into the fandom enough to know about this one YouTuber with about 5,000 subscribers at the time by the name of Brawny Buck. So would we have called her
deep in it?
Yeah. Would we have called her a Brawny?
She did put in there that that's what she wanted to be, so I guess I would respect it. I would just be be careful with her. Be like, hey, let's dial back your fandom interaction. Why do you have a YouTube account? Maybe she didn't, because at that time you could just like watch stuff.
Well, Heather, it's the internet. People lie about their age all the time.
I know. I did it as a kid too. Well, I don't think I did it when it was her age, only because there wasn't really much to do on the internet as a child.
Right. Well, the internet was very different between 19, or we'll say 2000 and 2016. So she was a really smart gosh darn kid, though. Could draw extremely well, especially for 9 years old. Like my cousin, or not my cousin, my nephew who draws, Heather, better than him.
Yeah.
And was learning coding out of a book at 9. It was insane.
I think we can that's another level.
Yeah, so if she wanted to get into the fandom, she's getting into the fandom. If she's studying coding out of a textbook at 9 years old, there is no parental block that's going to stop this kid on the internet.
This child could probably build her own computer.
Right, but I will say to the audience out there, if you have a secret double life as a Brony YouTuber with an alternate personality that you don't want anybody to know about, don't wear your Brony, Shining Armor Cutie Mark Badge Retriever to your job where you're working with kids. They might call you on it. So just be ready for that. I've already told that story.
I have to wear a lanyard name tag fucking thing for my job.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I don't give a fuck. I'm wearing a freaking that one necklace I have that is literally just Twilight Sparkle's head. I'm wearing the fucking Cadence dog tags, all that shit.
Right, but you're not you don't have a secret double life with a YouTube channel where you occasionally make somewhat inappropriate jokes for a 9-year-old, right? So that's
Yeah. Oh, are you? Yes, I do.
Well, okay, but you know what? Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, listen, I've told the story before, but when that freaking girl said my name, I almost had a heart attack. So let's see what the comments say here. As far as I'm concerned, there are 2 requirements. 1, be alive. 2, enjoy My Little Pony. So this Zarika Fox guy is keeping it pretty simple. Being alive actually, is not a requirement.
Well, I was about to say, I just found out what that fucking show was that I was talking about. Puka. It was Puka.
I wanted to say Nihao Kailan, but I knew that was wrong.
No, that was the cat one. I'm pretty sure you're thinking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, being alive is not a requirement. Okay, so yeah, I guess what was that kid's name? Alex. He was in the Brony documentary. He doesn't count, or Melody Pony probably doesn't count if being alive is a requirement. Let's see here. I thought the term Brony. I thought the term Brony was made because of the influx of older fans of the show. Like I said in my post, I really wouldn't think you'd call a toddler Brony for. So yeah, what do we have to say about the origins of the name? Because it totally derived from bros, as in dudes in their 20s and 30s, or maybe even late teens, that are just suddenly getting into the show. So does that play into the definition at all?
It certainly doesn't anymore. Freaking girls used to have their own definition, being a Pegasister. And, and as far as I know, no chicks even use that term anymore.
I have never heard somebody refer to themselves as a Pegasister in like over a decade. I've only heard somebody refer to herself as a Pegasister like once, maybe twice. And the vast other majority of the time, women would just rather call themselves bronies.
It's just simpler, shorter, bit more of a punch to it.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got another one. I think it's just as easy as enjoy My Little Pony. Consider yourself a brony. So that's more along the lines with what I was saying. A lot of very simplistic answers here. I'm not really seeing anything. You have to be a bro from New York. That's it.
Yeah, you know what? Hard to argue with that.
Never go to the Chinese fandom. Never go to the Chinese fandom. Never go to the Chinese fandom. I need to know why. What's wrong with the Chinese fandom?
What's wrong with the Chinese?
Okay. we gotta. You could have just said this to begin with. When it comes to the toxic nature of the Chinese MLP fan community, there are people quarreling over the show, the characters, etc. Okay, what else is new? Yes, I get there are quarrels. Quarrels are normal when people have different opinions. However, they often try to show their correctness and superiority. What else is new? This is true for Chinese platforms such as Bilibili, Kaisho, Douyin. Recently, Kaio selling MLP cards has resulted in the influx of people getting into the fandom, but it seems to exaggerate the toxicity as a majority of them never watch the show. Other
That's
issues...
crazy.
Yeah. Watching My Little Pony reduces your social credit score. Other issues include hatred towards different generations, especially G5. That's also not new. OC stealing, not new. Making unrelated references to other fan contents are insane as well. Not
We
new.
still do that.
We like that's been from day one.
You should basically just say don't become a part of the fandom because like the Chinese fandom isn't sounding much different than ours.
Yeah, what is it? The Chinese so far are literally doing nothing differently. Okay, next thing you know, I need to go meet the Chinese Brawny. It's if you ever go to the MLP community on Chinese platforms, I suggest not engaging at the comment sections. Well, first of all, how are you gonna read it?
You should probably just not do that ever. Just don't do that ever. Don't go in the comment section.
Yeah, it's Twitter brain. It's the type of, narcissistic autism you're gonna encounter in fandom in general. What else we got? I'm in several Chinese communities and it's not that bad. There are some new things caused by the complete crap show that is Kaio, but at the end of the day, people are just normal people. Whatever.
Let's get off this. This isn't even very interesting.
Alrighty then. Moving on.
Someone put in there, your advice isn't working. We're all going to see the Chinese fandom.
Let me read this chat real quick. Trent saying, really, did that happen? Yeah, I've told the story about my student who asked me if I had heard of Brawny Buck before. I've told that story a dozen times on this show. Cool Vanity says...
Brawny, with how smart you're saying this kid was, I think the kid was asking because they already knew.
God, I hope not. I really didn't show my face on my channel at that point, and I even, purposefully talked with a different voice while I was at work.
There's only so much you can fool someone, Brawny.
It was just...
She heard it in your voice and she was like...
She just said, have you ever heard of Brawny Buck? I think he's really funny. And I said, no, I've never heard of that guy. Maybe I'll go look him up. Rusty saying...
I think she knew.
Rusty saying Brawny meets bootleg Brawny.
Jesus, it would be, wouldn't it?
Listen, Heather, at 9 years old, if she knew, then everybody would have known, right? It would have been all over that. It would have been all over there. Hey, did you know that Counselor Brawny is the YouTuber Brawny Buck? We can go watch his YouTube channel. I accidentally put a kid on Team 4-Star one time and didn't realize until he comes back saying, "Hey, I just watched the Broly movie that I had made a terrible mistake." The Team 4-Star Broly movie was so freaking raunchy, and this kid was 9, and I'm like, oh no, I messed up. I thought for sure I was going to get in trouble for that. Thankfully, nothing happened. I guess his mother just didn't care. Oh.
Yeah, he probably hears worse at home.
Probably. Does anyone know if there's a Warhammer 40k My Little Pony fan fiction? I'm sure there is. Let's just head over to FimFiction.
Oh yeah, I've been on FimFiction, and there was one where like Celestia dates the guy from Warhammer 40k. Hold on.
The guy? There's a bunch of guys. Okay,
the God Emperor.
Let me check this. Okay, on FimFiction, we've got Warhammer 40k, Courage and Honor and Friendship. We've got Sunset, Chaos and Equestria, My Little Mantis Warriors. Just go on FimFiction and look up Warhammer 40k in the search bar. Conversion Bureau. It's canceled, so don't read that story. You're gonna get a cliffhanger. The Mission. Liberty Unto Death. Okay, so yeah, we got options here.
Let me see. I want to find the one I was talking about where what's his face? Where frickin' Celestia dates the God Emperor.
Rusty says, what, you got a problem with dead people liking My Little Pony? Necrophobia much? Not at all. I can't be necrophobic. I'm jealous of the dead. Rusty called me on my stutter cliffhammer. I noticed that Cool Vanity has a cross in his avatar image there. And that is definitely something I've noticed about Christians, is that they seem to be into Warhammer. I'm most certain I try to be a Christian, but I'm definitely not a fan of Warhammer, and I wonder what the overlap there is. All right, so shall we move on to the next topic, Heather?
Yep. Well, I got fired yesterday for being a brownie.
Yeah. Do you want to read this one, or should I?
I could read it.
All right, go for it. Oh, geez.
Okay.
Mute your mic next time.
No. Anyways, so I've been a fan of MLP for a while, and I think of myself as a fairly big fan, but I'm not one of those people who will walk around with a shirt of Rainbow Dash 24/7. This is a culmination of a few things over the past few months, so let's get on with it. I'm a guy in his late 30s who worked a regular boring 9-to-5 job. On my work computer, I had decided to set a picture of Applejack as my desktop background.
First mistake.
It was no big deal. Nobody would see it anyway, and it was certainly no different than the other guys in my office using pics of their favorite sports teams or their cheerleading squads. Anyway, a few weeks after having no issue with it, I got called into my boss, who essentially tells me it's weird and it makes people uncomfortable that I have a TV show for little girls as a background. How did he know about it? But I acknowledge this, keep my head down, and change it back to the standard default background. A few months later, it's take your child to work day. I bring my son in. He's more of a sports guy than me, and it's a good day. He talks with a couple of my coworkers, he's 10, about random sports stuff. My boss' daughter is 9, and she comes in wearing a Rainbow Dash shirt. As we were doing introductions, I told her I liked her shirt, something innocent, the same way people go, those are some cool shoes, to a kid. Nothing weird at all. After the day is done, my boss brings me into his office and confronts me about it, telling me again he thinks it's weird and to cut it out at work. I try to tell him it's no different than people pulling my son aside and talking about sports with him and stuff. But I obliged it for the next few months, didn't bring it up at all, feeling now like my boss has it out for me. Which brings us to this past week. On Wednesday, some of my coworkers were talking about it in Brony culture. I tried to talk with them about it, and I subsequently got mocked. It was a few guys against me, which I thought was weird, as I didn't make fun of the stuff they like, but all of a sudden it's cool to make fun of a TV show I like. Then on Thursday, somebody or somebodies had told some more people in the office about it, and people started making little jabs in the hallway about liking shows for girls and stuff. I did nothing to bring this shit on, but they were letting me have it. Then yesterday, my boss called me into his office, told me people were uncomfortable working with me. I do nothing but sit in my little hell cube and do work all day. I hardly interact with anybody. And that they were going to have to let me go. What the fuck? Can they even fire me for that? I write this after contacting HR because I think that's bullshit. I did nothing at all and I get fired for talking about MLP. Anyway, it's not all bad. The job was shit. I have some other opportunities already coming up that pay better, have better hours, and better benefits. So thanks. And a fuck you, Mr. Carter. You're the worst boss I ever had in my years of working. TLDR, I brought up MLP 3 times over the course of a year and got fired for it, but I'll probably get a better job now thanks to it. Sorry it's so negative, but it's kind of fucked up. Now, if you excuse me, I've got some My Little Pony to watch, and I don't give no fucks about anybody who has a problem with it.
Alrighty then. So yeah, you're don't ever let anybody know that you're a brony. I don't know what it is about My Little Pony. Well, actually, yeah, I do. It's My Little Pony, and it has a horrible reputation that's, for the, outside of Friendship is Magic, earned. So, it's juvenile. And people are weird, or, people are ignorant, and people are closed-minded, and they're not going to understand that there's actually some merit to it, or some quality to it, or even just know how to leave people the frick alone, and let them enjoy what they're going to enjoy. All they see is different. So if you like something that's weird, which it is weird to be a brony, don't frickin' talk about it. I don't even talk about, like, stuff I do that's relatively normal, because there's gonna, like my karate, right? I don't talk about that at work as little as I can, because there's gonna be somebody that's just not gonna get it. And it's happened my whole life, especially with karate. It's like, oh, so you're like one of those fake karate guys that we see all the time that does really cringy martial arts and like can't throw a kick but thinks he knows how to fight. Or, oh, this guy's gonna like dim mock touch of death me at the drop of a hat if he doesn't like me or for whatever reason, right? Like, people just cannot get these concepts through their heads. So no, don't ever change your desktop art at work. Don't ever talk about your hobbies at work. Don't let the people at work know anything about you. Interact with them as little as possible. They're not your friends. They're not your family. They don't, you don't like them and they don't like you. Now, if this is illegal to get fired over this, I've been fired over this, but I've been fired for being a brony, and I've been denied job opportunities just on the grounds that I'm a brony.
Sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, it sounded like he went to HR about it, and hopefully he took some legal actions. But then again, he also said he had better prospects. So I think this guy's gonna be okay. And I'm glad he came with it with like, I'm gonna watch My Little Pony again, and I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about it. Okay?
Yeah, but like, not everybody gets that opportunity. Like, if I lose a job, it's not easy for me to find work. If I lose a job, I'm boned. I don't have other opportunities lined up. It might be, there's been times I've been unemployed for years.
Yeah, I will say, I hate that the experience is incredibly sexist, because you're saying, like, you can't do this, that, and the other thing. And don't get me wrong, I also kind of have the double life of being a YouTuber, a streamer, cosplayer, shorts maker, or whatever. But, like, that's not something, like, I don't talk about it at work, and I certainly don't want to bring it up. But at the same time, I'm not hiding very much that I'm a brony. Like I said, I'm wearing, like, my Twilight Sparkle necklace, all the Phantom necklaces, the Phantom dog tags. I don't care who sees me with brony merch. I also, I actually do always change my desktop wallpaper at work to something of My Little Pony. Like, right now at work, I found some artwork on Google of like Luna in the clouds, and the clouds are actually the Tanibus, and it was really cool. So I have that as a wallpaper, and I use images of the last unicorn as a profile picture for when I sign into the computer. No one has ever given me shit for having that kind of stuff around me. In fact, some people will be like, oh yeah, that's really cool, that's really cute and stuff. And I think it is purely a sexist reason, because I'm a woman. Me liking like My Little Pony or unicorns and that kind of stuff is just okay. Like, some people might consider it immature, but these days people are getting more and more okay with people having nerdy interests, and that's just considered one of them. But it's still a very sexist experience, because you're a man and you like something that's meant for girls. That can only mean one thing to everyone: means you're a pervert. I hate to say it, but people, like, for a guy, if they find out you like something like this, oh no, you're a man, you're not supposed to like it. That means something's wrong with you. That means you're either mentally delayed or you're a pervert. It means one of those two things, and I hate that. It does not mean that you're a pervert. It does not mean that you're a freak. It does not mean that you're freaking. It doesn't mean you're mentally handicapped. You just like a show. It should be that simple, but that's how it is. Like, I'm able to at least, like, show it on my sleeves that, like, yeah, I like this thing, and people are generally accepting of that.
Indeed. There's no way to change the rest of society, though. So you're better off keeping it. You're better off keeping it to yourself. Now, as to whether or not this person can fire you, your boss can fire you for that. That is entirely dependent on the state. And yeah, if you're in touch with HR
and your employment contract, because like people will make you sign an employment contract, and when you're an at-will employee, they reserve the right to fire you at any time, at any point, for any reason, and that sucks.
Yeah, and yeah, if you get in touch with HR, I would have also gotten in touch with a lawyer. You obviously shouldn't go back there, even if you didn't have better options, because the people there are obviously douches. And you don't want to work with douches. Your life is already miserable enough just with the type of work that you're doing without adding people's douchebaggery on top of that. So, but if there is back pay to be had, if there is severance to be had, or if there's other general compensation for wrongful termination based on discrimination to be had, get that. I hope you shut that sucker down and people can learn to mind their own frickin' business.
Yeah. I want to put in the chat, I found that Warhammer ship fic, and I'm going to put it in there. Paladin, you should read that one if you haven't already. I didn't get to finish it, but this person is generally a good writer. Like, they made this fan fiction that I really liked back in the day. Celestia uses an online dating website, and basically all it was Celestia going on an interdimensional freaking immortals dating site and dating other immortal characters in fiction. Like, I think she dated Data from Star Trek, and she also dated, like, the Horse of Death. It was really funny. You guys should look at Rainbow Bob on FinFiction. He's generally a good writer.
I feel like I've read a couple of Rainbow Bob stories before. Let me take a look.
Oh, yeah. Rainbow Bob's pretty good from my experience. Like, I've read, like, a couple of his stories. I really got to get back into FanFiction. But, yeah, I'm going to recommend his shit even if I haven't finished it.
Oh, yeah. I recognize the T-Rex. That was the one that I read by Rainbow Bob. I thought that was Short Skirts and Explosions, but yeah, T-Rex. Twilight
T-Rex.
discovers that a new actually, I'm not going to put this one on the main screen because I remember that he also, like, writes porn occasionally. But T-Rex,
does he?
I believe so, but
I don't know. He's not gonna put that, like, in the description. He doesn't have he hasn't had, like, I've been looking for his stories. They don't have, like, very bad pictures that would get you in trouble.
Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing him for somebody else again. But Twilight
It's very easy to do that.
Yeah, here I'll put this one up. I'll just put it right here and go like this. Twilight discovers that a tea shop has opened up in Ponyville with a new owner, a bit on the tyrannical and overlordy side. However, business seems to be booming, even if the proprietor is totally evil with his prices. And basically this one is,
he's a capitalist!
Tyrek opens I freaking love that picture. And
so stupid. I'll read this later. Under your recommendation, I will read this.
And of course, yes, I love Assassin Monkey. God, I don't think he's been active for a very long time, but Assassin Monkey made great freaking art. And it was just, it was just, Tyrek has a tea shop, and he charges exorbitant prices, and he doesn't let you buy the tea that you came in to buy. He tells you what tea you're going to buy.
Is it because he knows tea so good or something?
Yes.
He's like, no, you want this.
Yes, that's exactly
that's cool.
what's up.
That's cool. Okay. If I have some money to spend, yeah, I'll go have his tea. I love that fucking Sombra one, though. That Sombra one looks hilarious. I haven't read it yet, but the picture, though.
Oh, let's see.
Like, that shit.
Yeah, imperialism meets sombrism. Apparently, I haven't read this one, but I feel like I had, or maybe I had it tabbed at some point.
Let's read it later.
All
Let's
right.
stop giving Rainbow Bob so much free shit. I love that clip.
You know what I should? You know what I should do, and I literally just had this idea. Is I should do a donation drive stream where people can tip me to read like their selected threads or their selected stories, as long as it's like up to a certain amount. Because otherwise, I don't want people like tipping me $5. Hey, go read Fallout Equestria.
I thought you meant like Reddit posts. But, you know, that's basically what Patreon is for anyway. They can go on Patreon and be like, hey, Brawny, what about this topic for Brony Debates?
Yeah. I wish I got more suggestions. Anyway, let's should we read the comments here? Okay, we'll move on.
They're basically just echoing what we said.
Yeah. What type of Brony are you? Closeted or open? Okay, firstly, I need to make a correction here, because when you're a Brony, the term is in the stable.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is great, though, because we're kind of opposites. You're very much an in-the-stable Brony, and I'm just like a whatever out in the open Brony. Like, you can tell from looking at me what my deal is.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, I don't know, these days, I might talk about it. I don't know, I'm kind of like, and I'll just say this real quick without elaborating on it too much. I don't know how much longer I've got in this fandom, but, you know, I could talk about it these days, but my family just wouldn't understand. But you know, because I have you, and because at the moment I make a halfway decent amount of money through my Brony hobby, I can like talk about it and have it. You know, they can not understand it. It won't be a big deal. I just, for the time being, avoid the conflict. Like, if they ask me about it, I'm not gonna lie or anything. But back in the day, like, no, I wouldn't have talked about this at all. I would, like, my father, and I've told this story before too, but my father was like, my sister brought out her old pony toys from the 1980s and showed them to my nephew when he was like 2. And my father comes in and goes, "Why is my grandson playing with My Little Pony toys?" And I'm like, okay, so that's the vibe here. I'm just gonna quietly leave and not say anything. Back in 2012, after I had just started making videos.
Well, to add on to that, because like you've talked a bit about the in the stable experience, let me talk about the open experience. And let me, like, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but like, me coming into the Brony stuff was a relief for the people around me, particularly my mother, because up until then, like, I found it in high school. Up until then, all I enjoyed was Xbox and Halo and Mass Effect and Gears of War.
Boy
and I
stuff.
liked anime, and I liked Hellsing, so that's gratuitous blood and violence and all that shit. And then I started getting into My Little Pony, and I was just like, ha ha ha, Mom, look at this pony stuff. And she was just like, oh, thank God, you might not be gay. Or a serial killer.
To be fair, Hellsing's Alucard has Tumblr sexy man vibes.
Oh, yeah, it was fucking awesome. But, you know, my mom doesn't understand that. She just sees that, like, I'm watching a vampire rip people apart, and she's just like, okay, then. I guess she just looked at me liking Brony fandom stuff, and she was just like, oh, thank God, she's got, like, a conventionally girly habit now. Maybe it's a cartoon made for children, but I don't give a fuck. Here, Heather, I'll help you make a cosplay where you look sexy. Go find a husband.
It almost
so
worked.
Like it was, I was very open about it. And in high school, because like my friend was drawing pictures of it in her notebook, in high school you're just like, yeah, this is my interest now. So I've worn it on my sleeve since then. I even put it on my fucking dating profiles. I was not subtle about it. Like my OkCupid name was Twilight Pie.
Your Brony mate name, Heather. You were on frickin' Brony Mate too for a minute.
I got off Brony Mate after a day because it was weird and hard to navigate.
But
I don't know
if
I put my name
you
Twilight
will
Pie.
never wash that stain from your conscience.
I didn't get a date off of that, if that's any consolation. But like, yeah, I'm always very open about it, and I think I did that sometimes intentionally because I wanted to put that first. Because I'm like, before I even knew the term, I wanted to find somebody who was going to match my freak, because I'm just like, I would hate to have to deal with someone in a relationship or in a friendship who just didn't get this part of me and might have like belittled it or been a dick about it, or just like wouldn't understand why I want to do things or what I value. I mean, I think that's like, in most regards, you should have someone who understands that. But yeah, I wear it on my sleeve because I don't want anyone to be surprised. And I'm like, hey, this is what I like and this is what I'm about. You either match it or move the fuck on.
Alrighty then.
So yeah,
you're just, you know what, Heather, you are lucky that you're a woman. You can pull that off. Most dudes can't. Maybe that's part of the reason why so many bronies are turning trans.
Bro, what? Anyways.
It's entirely possible. Highly likely, even. Let's see here. This guy says, what do you think?
Hey, he's out.
If you get a tattoo, you got a problem there. Hey, make sure you don't let anybody see that at the previous thread. Like, don't get a job at that company. They're not going to be comfortable to work with you.
Someone with a tattoo like this, like, you can easily hide this with a sleeve, and a lot of places are getting kind of relaxed with the tattoo policy these days. But also, like, there's workplaces that don't give a shit. Like, I don't think a fucking mechanic cares. I don't think the cops care. If you work in any sort of engineering, I don't think they give a shit. And sometimes if you're just high enough qualified in something and, like, you're like, yeah, I have a tattoo and purple hair, but also I'm the only one qualified to do this fucking incredibly complex procedure, so do you really give a fuck about how I look? And they're just like, nah, here's a 6-figure salary, have a good day.
God almighty. I already said it on this stream, but like I don't get jobs because of being a brony, and like I've been turned down for jobs that I'm perfectly qualified for, probably even more so than the people that ended up getting the jobs. But they see the brony thing, and it's just that. And, like, we've had people have to leave the fandom in order to pursue a professional career. Because they just... I
get it if you're public-facing and they want you to be as white bread as possible. Personally, I haven't had this problem.
Yeah. Let's see here. Celestial Berserkers, I don't know what that is. That's not even a good tattoo. Frick. The Reddit thing sucks.
Ooh, man. Sometimes I really consider having a tattoo because I see what people do and it's really cool. And I've got ideas for like a small one on a part of my body that not many people would see all the time. But I don't know how committed I am to it. You know? There's a little bit of commitment that goes on.
How about Discord holding the main 6 here? This is an awful tattoo.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, the artwork is beautiful. If they could flip it the other way, I'd appreciate it.
Let's see.
Get this in a tab and flip it for me. I want to flip it.
I don't know that I can.
Because I think it's really good. I think that's really good art.
This is my desktop at work. Don't do that. You're going to get fired. And it's G5.
No, it's okay. They're a woman.
Maybe. I mean, just because you've got this anthro art in your thing here doesn't mean you're a woman.
They could be an engineer or someone in IT, so there's no replacing them.
If anyone...
That guy probably got fired because he was wearing like a freaking... He was working a freaking... What do you call them? A cubicle job where he was just, data entry or some shit. Where they can just get rid of you. Replace you with someone else.
Oh, Cosma and Spirit says, I can relate a little to not getting jobs. I know I could be perfect at. Good news is I have an interview this week. Good luck on your interview. Keep me posted.
Good for you. Yeah.
If anyone asks, I will openly say that I like the show with no shame, but at all. But no way in Tartars am I ever referring to myself as a brony. The word itself feels gross enough without the nasty connotations of all the worst of them being my first exposure to the concept. I'm an adult fan of a kid's show. I don't need to call myself anything different because I like cartoons. What do you think about this one, Heather?
I feel like... I mean, I'm not sure what to make of it. Why do you have a gross feeling? It's because it has the word bro in it? Like they said without the like it feels gross enough without the nasty connotations of the worst of them being my first exposure to the concept. I feel like they've had bad experiences with certain fandom niches and nuts, so I like it's definitely not them being ashamed of stuff, but I think it's just not wanting to be associated with the negative aspects of fandom, you know? Like, I can kind of understand, like, if you've had a bad experience with fandoms, wanting to be like, nah, I'm not part of the fandom, but I do enjoy the show. Like, you know, I like Rick and Morty, but I wouldn't consider myself a member of the fandom. I've fallen off that show, but I definitely, like, I don't know what Rick and Morty fans call themselves.
They don't call themselves anything. I call them retarded, though.
Well, yeah, because, like, think about it. People don't want to be associated with that fandom ever since the fucking Pickle Rick Szechuan sauce debacle. or the creator freaking being at the convention. Well, yeah, the whole domestic abuse charges thing. I heard he beat those charges. I don't care. I never liked the guy to begin with. It was a messy divorce.
Yeah, and but I'm more focused on him being at that convention going, if you meet a Trump supporter, just stab him! Do it! Stab the Trump supporters! Like, literally, those were his words.
Like you don't say anything about that. Like,
I don't actually, Heather. Like, I don't like liberals and Democrats, but I don't say stab them.
Yes, you do.
I do not.
You don't say stab them. You tell them to go off and die. You totally do that.
I don't do that either, Heather. Where the heck did you hear me do that?
Oh, okay. Like every day.
I might say things along the lines of, like, if you act a certain way or exhibit certain behaviors, then yeah, you deserve whatever comeuppance comes and gets you. But that's not a partisan thing.
Don't you gaslight me right now.
I'm not gaslighting you. I'm sure we
can go through streams and find you talking crap on Democrats.
You'll find me talking crap on Democrats. I hate everything they stand for these days, but you won't catch me freaking saying that we should go out and stab them. That I've never done that, and I never will.
I will admit you never say stab, but you certainly imply other things.
Or any sort of violence, okay? You're wrong. I've never done it. Okay? I will open that challenge to the 8 people watching this show right now. If you find a clip of me, like, explicitly calling for any sort of violence against people I disagree with politically, by all means, make me eat these words, okay? I'll throw in some prize money.
Do it.
Oh, God almighty. Let's see. Little in each category. With my close friends and my wife, openly obsessed. With my friends in my union hall, slightly closeted. For my own embarrassment than any expectation of judgment. Okay. Brawny says you call everyone that even if you should not. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see.
They're a little bit behind.
I've badly drawn Rainbow Dash and Scoots in my phone case.
That's hilarious.
I'm a girl, so it really doesn't matter that much. I think people would judge me for liking ponies.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you consider a dad that watched G1 as a teen babysitting his nieces, then G4 with his own child, and even though they all grew out of them, they are still a part of his life simply because of the memories? I'm whatever that is.
Oh, that's nice.
Sir, you are too old to have this dragon thing as your avatar.
Oh, now we're age gating shit. We're fucking talking about a My Little Pony show. You shut up.
I'll bet you this dude's a furry. Ew.
Oh my god.
Battleship says, Brawny, please stop with this hate mongering. I literally am saying I don't... Whatever. God, y'all just put words in my mouth. It's like a hobby. Moving on. What's your Brawny hot take? I'll start. When artists draw these tails on unicorns. We're talking about the...
they're not my favorite. I'm not crazy about them, but I get it.
I don't like it either.
I call it a rat tail because, like, it feels like a rat tail. But I get it. it's definitely got its place. I mean, didn't the last unicorn? I don't know if the last unicorn had her tail like that actually.
Didn't she?
The last. Let me see real quick.
Are you looking here? I'll look it up. I'll look it up too.
Yeah, she had a tail like that. So it's like a very classical nod. I love The Last Unicorn. I love the aesthetic of The Last Unicorn incredibly. It's beautiful. The tail works here, but I don't know. It's not my favorite tail. I mean, then again, a horse tail, like I've liked them in My Little Pony, but I like the possibilities with them having a tail similar to a lion. Because, like, you see what Pinkie Pie does with her tail. Like, if other characters could use the kind of like their rat tail as like a limb, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so like I could take it or leave it. I don't care for it too much. It's just an aspect of it. It goes, I will say, the whole design together looks great. It's, I mean, you're thinking like, oh, it's just a white unicorn. Like, no, you're not getting this. I could draw a white unicorn and it wouldn't be as good as this. It's the graceful line art. It's the waviness of the mane. It's the choice in the white. It's not just like a freaking, like they didn't just drag and drop a color in there. It's like, this isn't the best image. Brawny, it's making it look very vanilla toast, but look at the little tufts at her little hooves. Look how tiny her little hooves are. I don't know how those... Yeah, the fetlocks. Look at how her little hooves. I don't know how those skinny little hooves and legs are carrying such a majestic full body.
Well, now you know how I feel about real horses. I do not...
it's her eyes, too. Like, honey, you gotta fucking put a better picture. Like, let me actually copy what I'm looking at. Copy image, and I'm going to send this to you on your Discord. This is a beautiful image. The color choice is very wonderful here because her white up against these very cool purples and blues is amazing. There's a picture.
All right, hang on a second. Let me grab this and throw it in here.
The color choices they did. I sent you another one too where she's up against a lot of warms, the yellows and greens. Like it's not even like the colors themselves, but like how they frame her with others. And if you look closely to her horn, she has a star where her horn comes out. But yeah, I just aesthetically love the Last Unicorn a lot. No, human designs leave something to be desired. I mean, her human design when they transform her into a human is beautiful, but everyone else looks freaking disgusting. Like every other human looks disgusting in that movie.
Yeah. Cosmin Spear says it's like a lightning bliss tail. No, lightning bliss is...
Oh yeah, lightning bliss was inspired by art styles like this, but I do believe she said it's more of a line tail, but people was like, oh, is that a paintbrush you have for a tail? And she started using it as a paintbrush, if I recall correctly. Also, I sent you another picture. It'll show like how cute freaking the Last Unicorn can look, but also have her next to Smendrick, and you look how fucking dopey ass that fucking Smendrick looks like. I feel bad for Smendrick.
How the frick do you have a name like Smendrick and live with yourself? I would change my name.
He barely does. Have you seen this poor man? Everyone mistreats my poor dude.
I mean, when you're bad at your job. Let's get a little...
Hey, he's not bad at the job. They'll be like, Smedrick, do something! Smedrick, do something! Smedrick, do something! And then Smedrick does something to, like, solve the problem. And they're like, no, Smedrick, you fuck, Smedrick.
The one time he actually did anything that was helpful, it wasn't even intentional.
The first 3 times he said it, I thought it was my name.
You're not Smedrick, you're
No,
Emerald.
It sounded like you were saying Spencer.
No, you should probably watch The Last Unicorn.
I've watched it many times.
How do you feel about how they treated Smendrick?
I don't remember him well enough, unfortunately.
Well,
I probably would rewatch it.
They disrespect Smendrick too often. I'm tired of the Smendrick, bashing here. Smendrick was a cool guy that, he was trying his best, man. He was always trying his best.
He tried so many times. Like, every time he tried to do something in that movie, it backfired. And then when the only time he did something that was actually helpful to the situation, he just went, Jesus, take the wheel. His literal words were, magic, do what you will. Magic, do what you will. Magic, do what you will. It just completely let him go.
They kept telling him to do something. What else was he supposed to do?
Right. And then they were like, no, not like that. So it was skill issue, bad dice roll.
God, I'm so pissed. You know how much it is for a hard copy of the Last Unicorn book? It's almost $700!
Oh my god, I didn't know it was a book.
Oh yeah, it was a book first. I've been meaning to read it because, I love this movie so much. To get a paperback is like, oh, it's just like $12. Ooh, whatever. Hardcover from $700 on Amazon? Jesus. Why though?
There's got to be a digital PDF
I think it's
somewhere.
because it probably includes, I'm seeing this comes with like a lot of pictures and art and shit. And don't get me wrong, this is gorgeous. The artist who made this deserves every last bit of that money, but I guarantee the artist is probably not getting every last bit of that money. The
Indeed.
artwork is beautiful. I want a paperback though.
Real quick
Paperback
in the chat here. Paladin saying you put the words in your mouth. No, I didn't. That's what I'm saying. You guys are misinterpreting what I'm saying. We can't make you say anything.
Wait, from that.
No, yeah, from back in Battleship going. I just want to hear an hour where we don't talk about politics. Bro, this is Brony Debates. We talk about literally anything here. Okay. So,
but also, let's talk about The Last Unicorn instead.
Apparently liking Yona is a hot take, so I'll go with that, says this person.
Who doesn't like Yona?
Kaida, not a dude. Trans.
Oh, no, shut up. I've had usernames like that because back in Xbox Live, though, I had a name like that for an alt account. I think I said Heather totally a chick or something because everyone always asks you whenever I open my mouth in a chat, the first thing anyone would ask me is, are you a girl? And I got sick of saying yes. At that point I was just like, look at the name, look at the fucking name.
Let's see. Cosmin Spirit says, I have the Last Unicorn book. It's really good.
Oh, wonderful. I'll have to read it then.
Rusty quoting Emerald saying, I've watched The Last Unicorn many times. Also Emerald, I don't remember Schmendrick. The disrespect!
The disrespect, it's more Smendrick bashing. Oh.
That's right, we bash on Smendrick in this dojo.
Stop bashing Smendrick.
He showed up to that castle, and there was another wizard there who knew him, and was like, what are you doing here, you frickin' failure? Let's see here. Everyone dogging on OP for the tails and not contributing, so I'll try staying on topic. Unpopular opinion, hot take is I don't like when people make OCs based off of someone else's OC, especially if they've seen it in a commissioned art piece. I wouldn't call that a hot take.
Maybe, that's just OC stealing, but are they, basing it off that, or is it just inspired? Because, you know how many ponies kind of look the same? I think it was this girl named Crystal something or other, and she had a white Pegasus OC with blue, her hair had blue tips and blue tipped wings, and she had a heart. Do you know how many OCs look like hers? And it wasn't because she was super big. It's because those color palettes are just so very popular. Being white with blue, being black and red, so many black and red OCs, being a blue unicorn, or just a blue horse. You know how many fucking blue horses are in this fandom?
Friggin' ANY, Eliora, and Kichi all still owe me royalties for stealing my design.
I don't know. It's just fucking ridiculous. Hey, Black Friday's the 28th this year, right?
I don't know. Let me take a look at the calendar. Why do you ask?
Yeah. I'm fucking doing an Amazon thing.
Black Friday is the 29th. I'm going to deviate for just a second and point out that I think it was a year or maybe 2 years ago that they started doing something called Black Thursday, and it actually made me mad. No, you prick. That's called Thanksgiving.
It is the 29th. Okay, you were right.
Yeah, I just looked at the calendar.
I was looking at the calendar for next year.
All right. Trent says, again, you have lighter fur, Brawny. Yeah, it's called legally distinct. It only needs to be 20% different for me to not sue them. Let's see here. Battleship saying, speaking of Black and Red OCs, anybody ever know what happened to Toon Critic? I hope he spent some time in jail. No,
dead.
he did. He will be if I ever see him
He's
again.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
He's sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. I happen to know he's not, unfortunately, but we'll let's see. Not wanting Hasbro to reboot or do anything TV or movie wise with G4 is a pretty hot take, apparently.
Yeah, people want more of what they like. It can't be helped, but you know, it is what
Make
it
a
is.
spin-off and hire me as the director. I'll bet you I would make a killer show about the CMC.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yep. Or I bet you I would make a killer show about Little Cheese and what was it, Big Apple or something like that? Big Macintosh's kid. I'll bet you I could get into hijinks, especially if I'm given a blank slate on characters. Let's see here. G5 is okay. Is that a hot take?
I think a lot of people think that. I mean, most of the reaction to it was lukewarm at best, so I don't know.
My hot take. I genuinely love anthroponies. Furry, and we've seen this name before. Flag in bio. Opinions invalidated.
Oh, whatever.
We've seen that person before. Moving on. We're at 9 o'clock now, Heather. Do we want to keep going? We got a few topics left here.
Well, let's finish with this last one. Who's winning an arm hoof wrestle match? I want you to answer in the chat. Who you think is winning? Iron Will or Bulk Bicep? Who's winning? Who's winning?
I'm pretty sure Iron Will is winning. I think he's bigger. I think he actually trains his muscles functionally, just based on the way that he looks. And most importantly, he's got joints that move in that direction and opposable thumbs, so he's got leverage.
Bulk, it is a lot about leverage. I feel like you stole mine because I told you this when we first talked about this, and you were like, no, Bulk Biceps. But I'm like, no, maneuverability, tactics.
And I realized that you were right, so I came to your side.
Well, I'm such a good debater that I didn't even have to really debate this one. I will say, I feel like Bulk Biceps has more of that core strength, if it matters. Like, they both got packs here, but I feel like Bulk Biceps is a little bit wider in that regard. So if he could put a bit of his core into it, it might be good.
If there's
He's got
any
tiny hooves, though.
Yeah, now core strength could make a difference. Bulk Biceps has way smaller pectorals than Iron Will. And that's gonna, now here's the thing. Bulk Biceps has smaller pectorals. Iron Will has smaller shoulders. And both of those things connect to the rotator cuffs, which is what's going to be doing the most of the work in an arm wrestle. So that's...
Yeah, that is a...
Yeah, so we've got two different, we've got a yin and yang sort of situation here. What's going to win? Is it going to be the shoulders or is it going to be the pecs? And, when those average out to be even, then you got to come down to the biceps. And this is the shape of a, because I thought Bulk 2 at first, I'll admit that, Heather, because he does look bigger, especially in this picture. But this is what a functionally trained bicep looks like.
I see your point there. I do see it, and he's got them fingers that might help. And this also might be a mind over matter situation, because like you gotta have your head in the game. Now, who's gonna be more suited to do that? I think we might be right with Iron Will, because Iron Will, the motivational speaker, can certainly hype himself up. But I don't know. Then Fluttershy, as soon as she was able to put her foot down and talk to him, he was like immediately off course. Could Bulk Biceps replicate this? Could he get more? Like, could he be more of a hype man than potentially Iron Will?
Well,
we can't discount that Bulk Biceps also knows his way around maneuverability wise. I mean, he's also a masseuse out of freaking Spa.
Yeah, but that's a completely different skill, though.
He might. Emerald has something to add.
On the point of mental fortitude for this fight, Bulk Biceps works multiple customer-facing retail positions.
Yeah, that's true.
Iron Will not be able to do anything to him that the customers already have.
That's true. That's true. He's got that mental. He's got a mind like a steel trap. He's not going to take that shit.
Okay. You know what? Let's talk about that for a second. Iron Will is a salesman, and I would rather work retail than work sales, because retail, you've just got to be hello, sir, hello, ma'am. That'll be 1246, pull to the next window, right? When you're doing sales, you got to be like, here's this thing that you don't need that's going to cost a chunk of your disposable income, or maybe, and I'm going to convince you that you need this in your life enough, right? And not only does he do that, but he is extremely successful at it.
That is true. Maybe we've seen him like in 2 escapades.
Yeah, and he's filthy stinking rich in both of them, off of his, just off of talking to people, never mind his muscles, whereas Bulk Biceps has 3-4 jobs?
He does. He's a man with many hats.
Yeah.
So this is getting tougher the more we talk about this. Chat, we're gonna have to count your votes. Let's see. I see Iron Will, Bulk Biceps. Oh man, that's
yeah. So Iron Will has the functional training on more muscle groups. He's got the grip leverage and the grip strength. Bulk Biceps does have mass on him in certain aspects. Like, we do see bigger shoulders, bigger abs, bigger legs too, right? Not just the front legs, the hind legs where he would get his rooting. So, but I don't think just being stronger in fact, I know, especially when you've got combat sports like this, that just being stronger is not going to do it. You've got to have the leverage, and you've got to have the technique, and you've got to have the mentality. Bulk Biceps would be, Bulk Biceps is doing the hypertrophy sort of workouts, low rep, really high ranges within a certain group there. I don't think he's training isometrics, and I don't think he's holding stretched positions against resistance for long periods of time. I don't think he's doing cardio. He's going to gas himself out. Iron Will pretty much just needs to do like Dusty Cat did to me when I arm wrestled him that one time, and just hold me there until I ran out of breath. I'm pretty sure, all things considered, once we do that, Iron Will's got it. Let's see what the chat says. SpongeBob, technique!
Technique! I think I counted most of the votes. I think we might be saying Iron Will would take this, but you know what? If there's an animator in the crowd, Need you to animate this so I can see a fight and feel.
I need somebody to clip
closure.
this segment and send it to Dusty Cat. We'll get his opinion. All right, let's see here. Moving on.
I think we want to call it there. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I see. I told you we didn't do that one. We'll do it next time, though.
yeah, we've only got 2 more, but we'll call it here. So.
I got so many tabs of more.
Well, next week, I am trying to set up some actual topics for the next 2 or 3 weeks here. So it might be a little bit before we come back to Reddit, unless something goes wrong and I have to fall back on Reddit again. We'll see. Stay tuned. Tell all your Brony friends about my stream. I wanted this freaking number higher than 10. Yeah. Did you have fun talking tonight, Heather?
Yeah, sure. I've been crocheting while we talk.
Very good. And I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. We will see you in just under an hour on Heather's stream. Heather, what are you doing tonight?
Oh, now's the moment, guys. I reveal what won the poll for the October game stream. It was, to no one's surprise, Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah. So that's what we're doing tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So in about 50 minutes, we'll go live. Are you guys ready to be spooked? Spooked for spoopy season?
I guess so. Battleship says, what does it cost to have a guest appearance? It doesn't really cost anything. If you've got an interesting topic, I'll bring you on. So I'll just throw this out there. The patron suggested topics get priority. That's the only difference. You don't need to give me anything to come on the show. If you can be civil, and if you've got an interesting topic that I want to talk about, that's all there is to it. Now then, so Heather, you have fun with Five Nights at Freddy's. I won't be there because I'm a wimp.
You're such a baby.
I am.
You should be in the room with me and help me.
What am I going to help you with? Okay, I'm just going to be like, first of all, you need to walk out this building and come back with a gun. That's how you beat this game. You walk off the job.
Get fired.
And why do the freaking doors need power in order to stay closed? Gosh darn it. It's a dumb freaking game.
It was pretty dumb. Like, me trying to opening the game was fucking dumb because, like, the fucking, what was it, Emerald? Why I couldn't open?
You had your main monitor Windows scaling to 150%. You had to turn that off because it was freaking out.
Oh my, yeah, it was so, like, obnoxious how it had a difficult time opening. No other game has given me that trouble, but whatever, we're gonna get through it.
All right, well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks everybody who supports, especially on the $10 and up tier. Remember, we're still doing some fundraising tonight, so, for the next month or so. Thanks everybody on the Patreon, especially Heather herself, as well as Shady, Autoknight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Rain, Billy, Alden, Kanto, Mr. Sonic, Alicia, Calvic, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Vulpecula, Raptor's Talon, Jimmy, Yoshi, and Dark Malcontent. Check out all those links in the description to see what they make and what you can get in return for supporting me. Until then, see you on Heather's stream. Stay safe. God bless. We'll see you next time. Say goodnight, Heather.
Good night.